Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the Written Word Library and I am Alex. Today I am going to be giving a rant, a dissenting opinion on Murderbot Book One, which is called All Systems Red. This is a science fiction, robot science fiction space story written by Martha Wells. So many people have told me on BookTube, or you just watch the videos, right? Go on the videos on BookTube and see what people say about this book. They say this book is so much fun. Supposedly this book is the time of your life. It's so much fun. And, look, I have a copy. I got my copy from the library, right? So it's, maybe I didn't get the fun version of this book, right? Maybe I got the Temu version of this book. The library, there's something redacted, maybe the Chinese government redacted some parts of this book and I just missed the fun. I did not get this book at all. And I was so excited. I really wanted to like this book. I really did. Because the TV show came out with Alexander Skarsgård, which seemed interesting. And all the videos I was watching about the book, especially Book One, said it was so much fun. It was a great time. I don't know what they're talking about. I do not know what they're talking about. Now, for those of you who have not read this book and have no idea what it's about, this book is essentially, if I were to describe it to people, it is Westworld meets Alien. So if you've seen Westworld, if you've seen Alien, there's really no reason to read this book. There really isn't. Because in actuality, I think each of those pieces of work are better than this. And I'm not trying to dump on Martha Wells here, right? I know she has a lot of other books that people really enjoy, and this is a popular series, So look, maybe y'all can tell me in the comments why I'm wrong. You maybe can convince me that I read this the wrong way. I don't think that's the case, but I'm always willing to have some conversation, discussion in the comments about any of my opinions. I'm more than willing to have those types of conversations. Anyway, so as I said earlier, this is Westworld meets Alien. The premise of this story is that we have this robot, Murderbot, who has been able to override its programming, right? It's meant to do X, Y, and Z that humans have programmed, and it has gotten rid of those. But it needs to not let humans know that. And again, this is very reminiscent of Westworld. If you've read Westworld, or if you've watched Westworld, you will know that this theme has been tackled before. However, I think Westworld and also movies like Ants and A Bug's Life have done this 100 times better. And mind you, Ants and Bug's Life, they're just better movies. I'm sorry, I think those are better movies than this book. I'm really sorry to say that, but that's just the truth. These characters have no personality. I mean, there's nothing memorable about them. I don't understand it. There is nothing memorable. And the focus of the story is on Murderbot, right? The focus is so much on Murderbot that we don't care about any of the other characters. Yes, they have names, supposedly. They are doctors, they are scientists. And we are, again, told that they have names. But do these people have distinguishing qualities? Not really. Not at all. This story is harmed by the fact that Murderbot is the main character and no one else matters. At least in Book One. Now, I understand this is Book One, so other characters might develop later on, but you've got to start that characterization in Book One. You can't wait till book 2 and hope that people are going to actually want to read book 2. Because I'm telling you, I have no reason, I have no urge in my body, in my bones, to read book 2. And I'm trying to say in this video why that is. Okay, I've talked about the characters. This addresses the idea of human beings, how they treat non-humans, which is an interesting topic. I actually think that's an interesting topic to address. In a way, Jaws, like, it's kind of funny, like, if you think about Jaws, kind of addresses this, like how humans deal with things that they're afraid of, like, say, sharks. But of course, in Jaws, this shark is supposedly menacing, even though we know that's not reality. But the other stories that I mentioned already, Westworld, Ants, Bug's Life, they really tackle with these ideas of human beings they believe in a human-centric theory of the world. Yet there are so many more bugs, insects, other animals that exist on this planet that are way more than us. And we are, in some cases, very cruel. Because these things are not humans, we are very cruel to these creatures. And it's an interesting morality, right? Do humans have an obligation to treat other species that we might consider less intelligent than us? Should we treat them fairly, right? And so those things are very great works. They also tackle this idea of sentience, which is another interesting concept of what animals might have sentience, right? It's a bunch of biologists are doing work on that. And off the top of my head, I don't know how many have sentience. I know dolphins are very smart, but I don't know beyond dolphins or octopuses or octopi. What other creatures are possibly as smart as humans. Maybe not quite as smart, but getting much closer than we are. Another thing regarding the characterization. Martha Wells tries to make Murderbot relatable to human beings. However, she creates what I would call a caricature, almost a meme of a human being. So there's a list of 3-4 things that Murderbot wants once he has obtained this sentience. 1, he wants to not work, right? Oh, who wants to work, right? Okay, I kind of get that, but fine. Watch TV all day. Okay? So not work, watch TV all day, wear sweatpants, and not talk to people. Living life that way, you are stripping away our humanity. You are stripping it away. If all you're doing, and I know people like to watch TV, but if you truly want to live, and I am realizing, as I have thought more about this book, I think my worldview of how to be a human and what is a good, enriching life might have been affected by how I read this book. Because human beings need to go outside in some capacity. Even introverts need human connection, human companionship. And, because look at the studies. Look at the studies of the number of people who live to 90, 100. A lot of those people are married. Or they have a really strong social structure, a support system. I mean, look at the blue zones. You can search up what these places are, but these are places where people live a very long time. And if you include, diet and mild exercise, it really includes these social interactions, these social relationships and functions that are vital for living a fulfilling life. And look, I'm an introvert. I don't like going to huge events or gatherings where there's lots of people. I don't like that, right? I prefer one-on-one conversations or in a group of 4, 5 max. That's my sweet spot for social interaction. But I really enjoy those smaller social interactions. They give me energy. They give me life. Because we can't live on an island. We can't. People, for some reason, idealize this. I don't get it. Because, and think about it this way too. There is a reason why solitary confinement is considered a punishment. And there's even some people who think it is ethically immoral, because humans are social creatures, to confine them in a prison in an isolated place, essentially, right? Because if you're in prison, in most cases, you're around other inmates. But if you're put into solitary confinement, you are getting no human interaction. And some people, ethically, think that is a step too far. That is essentially torturing someone. So not only have you imprisoned them, but you are now torturing them and possibly driving them crazy because of the lack of social interaction. I would say regarding this that it's also possible after reading this that I just don't like space sci-fi. I will say I did enjoy The Expanse. The TV show I thought was phenomenal. I haven't read the books. I have not read the books, so I can't say anything about that. But the TV show was absolutely wonderful. But admittedly, I don't like other space sci-fi. For example, I don't like Star Wars. I don't like Star Trek. There's other shows out there that exist. But it's also very much possible that the reason I didn't have fun with this and why I didn't enjoy it is because I don't like this genre. I am generally a fantasy and a literary fiction classics type of reader. I want to read about people. I want to read about the human experience. That's what I want to read about. And some sci-fi does tackle that. And that's why I was hopeful for this. I thought, Martha Wells is going to have a really nice, a nuanced approach to being a human in this story. And in some ways, you could say maybe she was trying to be too original, because maybe she was trying to differentiate herself from Westworld or from Alien. It's 100% possible she was trying to do that, but in some cases, if you offer an inferior product, people are not going to be happy. People like myself. But again, I'm in the minority. I accept that. It is fair to say I will not continue with book 2. And I should say, if I'm trying to compare this book, the past 2 books I read that I thought were far superior to this book, the 2 of them were The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, which is a phenomenal book. I mean, 4.75 out of 5 stars. Fantastic, phenomenal book. Great character work. The other book is The Shadow of the Torturer, which is by Gene Wolfe. That's part of his Book of the New Sun. And that was science fantasy, I believe is what he decided to call it. And I thought that was so much more intriguing, so much more interesting. The dialogue that went on here, the inner monologues were so much more insightful than the Murderbot story that we got here from Martha Wells. I don't know how people can like First Law and Book of the New Sun and then also tell me that Murderbot is anywhere near the level of those 2 books. Like, if someone tells me that, I'm going to put my hands up and say, What world are you living in? I don't get it. I don't get it. And again, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know in the comments if you have an opinion on this book and if you disagree with me and why you disagree with me. Okay? And also, if you're thinking about reading this book, let me know in the comments as well. Let me know if you want to read this book. Let me know your thoughts on my video. Again, my name is Alex, and this is the Written Word Library. Hoping my next book will be a lot better, and I'll have a much more positive review for you guys. All right, see y'all next video, guys. Bye.